that you all are studying. And for your purposes, the short answer is yes, Macedonia was part of Greece, or actually at that time it was the Roman Empire. Okay. So when Paul got the Macedonian call, he was in a town named Troas, and that's in modern day Turkey. Okay. And he got the vision, and he got on a boat and went to Neapoli, which today is called Kavala. So if you look on a modern map for the city of Kavala.
Kabbalah, Carly, Kabbalah.
Here's Troas and here's Napala.
Oh, Napala.
Okay.
Neapoli.
Oh, Neapoli.
Yeah, so.
What?
Neapoli.
Yeah.
It's up here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so at the time of Paul, and what you read in Acts, it's called Neapoli. Mm-hmm. But if you look on a modern map today, it's not called Neapoli anymore. It's called Kavala.
Kabbalah.
Kabbalah. I wonder if that's where Kabbalah.
Okay.
I don't see Troas.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You can look it up on Google Maps and see pictures.
You can look on this map and write it down. That's what we should be doing. Yeah.
So he landed in Neapoli / Kavala, and then Philippi is just north of there, and it's in the car. Nowadays, it's about 25 minutes. You can drive from Kavala to the old Philippi, because Philippi is just ruins now. There's no, actually there is a village nearby, but they've uncovered all of the old Philippi from the time of Paul.
Did you want us to go around?
Yes.
Still can't hear.
Keep going, Carly. Thank you. Keep going.
I have a question, Carly.
Yeah, so that's
Carly,
a couple hours. That's a couple hours from our house.
Just a second.
Go ahead.
Rebecca has a question.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
a question about why Philippi is now in ruins. Is it just because people moved on, or was there some kind of war waged there that made it ruins?
Yeah, there wasn't a war. I think the village moved, if I remember right, it may have had to do with water or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
It wasn't anything, it
Violent.
wasn't like a war or anything.
Okay.
The settlements where people continued to live, they just moved. And they moved not very far away.
Okay, thank you.
So, just a little more about Macedonia. Macedonia is, I live in Macedonia also. So the area that was considered Macedonia, that is still considered Macedonia, includes Thessalonica and Berea, that you'll read about in Acts. That's all Macedonia. So when Paul goes on from Philippi and he goes to Thessalonica, and then he gets kicked out of there and he goes to Berea, that whole entire region is Macedonia.
Is that like a region would that be like a region in the United States? Is that what you said, Rebecca, when we talked about it?
Like Midwest.
Like a region?
Northwest. Do they separate?
Well, no, it was, so many years before Paul got there, there was an old kingdom. It was called the Macedonian Kingdom. It was, back it was before Christ even, like BC. When there were kingdoms and there were wars and people just, got pieces of land. And the Macedonian Kingdom was begun by a guy named Philip, and the Macedonians had their own language, but it was very, very similar to Greek. And Philip's son was Alexander the Great. And if you've heard of Alexander the Great, he's the one that that Hellenized the entire world. He's the one that made, he put the Greek language and culture over the largest area that it's ever been.
So
He went all the way to Persia.
Was he from Macedonia?
Yeah, he was Macedonian, but he was also taught by Aristotle, so he was Greek. I mean, Macedonian, when you say Macedonian, it's like, it's Greek.
So did Alexander's father have anything to do with the name of the city Philippi?
I don't know, actually.
Probably.
They
I was
like
gonna-
to have
yeah,
cities named
possibly.
after
Yeah,
themselves.
I really don't know.
Probably.
Okay,
Yeah, his name was Philip, so that's very possible.
Seems like I have heard that before. Seems like it is.
So it's basically the name of a region that was an old kingdom, but it's not a kingdom anymore because at the time of Paul, it's the Roman Empire.
right.
So the Romans have come in and they've, taken over. But it's still, for many, many years, it was the Kingdom of Macedonia, and it had been very powerful. So it's the whole entire region is still known as Macedonia. Okay, so for further clarification, if you can hear me,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
just to clear up confusion, if you look at a map today, like where I live right now in northern Greece, you probably won't see Macedonia on the map unless because it's a region. It's not like the name of the country or anything. But there is a country just north of us called the Republic of North Macedonia.
Yeah, I see it.
And it's kind of confusing. Well, that geographical area of the modern North Macedonia, there was probably some overlap with the Kingdom of Macedonia when it was at its biggest point. However, the people who live there now, they chose that name because of the ancient Kingdom of Macedonia, and they were trying to form an identity. Excuse me. They were trying to form an identity, and it's a very common thing to do, to reach back into, way, way back history to say, we're connected to the ancient past. And so, but they're not, they're Slavic. So there was a huge dispute when the Republic of, what's now known as the Republic of North Macedonia, used to be just the Republic of Macedonia. It was part of Yugoslavia, if you remember Yugoslavia. And when Yugoslavia broke up, it became Macedonia. But then they wanted to join NATO, and they wanted to join the European Union, and like all the countries were, and Greece flipped out about it. They were like, no, there's no way. You're calling yourself Macedonian, and that's Greek. And so they really caused a stir. They barred them from entering the European Union. They're still not in the European Union. So the year after we moved here in 2019, they finally made a deal where the Prime Minister of Greece and the Prime Minister of Macedonia agreed that if they would change their name to the Republic of North Macedonia instead of calling themselves Macedonia, then Greece would allow them into the EU and into NATO. And so they made that deal. A lot of people weren't happy about it, but honestly, everybody was so tired of fighting about it because they had fought about it for decades. And so now it's the Republic of North Macedonia. They are in NATO. They're still not in the EU, but that's because Bulgaria is now blocking them. But anyway, so they're
A mess.
Lovely.
the name is confusing. They're not Greek. They're Slavic. They go it's a completely different group of people, a completely different language and culture, everything. It's not the Greek culture or language, they're just using the name.
Interesting.
I find it interesting that just south of North Macedonia, on the map that I'm looking at, is West Macedonia.
Yeah, or actually, it's interesting. I'm sure there's a West. When I have to fill out on some, applications and whatnot, sometimes it'll ask for the region that I'm in, and I have to put Central Macedonia.
Oh, interesting.
So there's probably, I guess Berea would be in like Western Macedonia.
Albania.
How about Albania?
Korea would be?
That's Muslim.
Now, wait a minute.
I think like historically you'd have to,
Islamic.
probably the borders changed all the time. When it was
Yeah.
the Kingdom of Macedonia, the borders probably changed all the time depending on, when they were conquering and when they lost. So under Philip, it was when it was the biggest, but it was a kingdom before that, and so it was smaller before that, and then actually Philip, I guess it was it was the biggest under Alexander the Great.
Isn't
but
Berea on the east
anyway.
coast?
No.
No, it's west. It's Berea is actually west of Thessaloniki, Thessalonica,
Yeah.
and it's still there, and it's still called Berea. We call it Berea. It's a cute little town. The only thing to see there now is a synagogue, a Jewish synagogue that's very old.
Okay,
West coast.
when you're talking about Macedonia, then, are you talking about the part just above the water there?
Above the Aegean Sea?
Above the GNC?
Uh-oh.
Or is that part of
Yeah,
Thrace?
it's basically
Or is that part
it's
of Thrace?
basically all of northern Greece. It's the
Okay.
region that is it encompasses almost all of northern Greece.
Greece is a lot bigger than I ever thought, looking at this
Yeah,
map.
it is.
A lot bigger.
Yeah.
Is Thrace still in existence?
Thrace?
Thrace,
Thrace?
The region of Thrace.
Region of Tr-
TH Thrace.
I think so.
Okay, because that's north of Macedonia, I think.
Thrace, oh yeah, it's on.
It is.
It would be right here.
Yeah, right.
This would be Macedonia.
So is it north?
This
Is
is
it north of
Greece.
Macedonia?
Yeah, it's, way north,
According to
it
this,
looks
it's
like.
north, yeah.
Or maybe northeast.
Might be northeast, she
Yeah.
said.
If
Thrace?
If it's
Is that how
still
you
the
say it?
same.
What?
Oh, I
Thrace?
see, yeah.
Trace, T-R-A-C-E.
Trace.
No.
No,
T-H-R-A-C-E.
Oh, it's
Thrace.
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 And it is pronounced, I mean, we're so used to our own language, you see that, and you pronounce it Thrace, but I was wondering if it might be Thrace or
Do
something
you know
like
how
that,
to pronounce
know?
that, Carly?
To us, it's Thrace.
Yeah, it's just Thrace.
It's
Okay,
Thrace.
Carly,
Thrace.
on my map, on my Google map, it says Bulgaria.
Oh, really?
Thrace is now Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, wow. Trace is down Bulgaria.
Did you hear her, Carly?
Well, there's a Thrace area in Greece also. I don't know the history of that though, but there's a lot of different Thrace things.
Yeah.
And kind of it's east of Hakidiki. It's like very eastern Greece. It's just south of Bulgaria. Yeah.
Okay.
Akita Key, and you go there a lot, don't you?
Well, in the summer, it's a popular tourist destination.
What is it?
Do you
Akita Key
live
or
near
something.
Thessalonia?
Oh, yeah.
She said
It
you
is
lived,
in
Sorry?
Thessaloniki.
she asked if you lived in Thessalonia,
You
but it's
live
like,
near Thessalonia?
She lives
She
in
is,
Thessaloniki.
but they call it Thessaloniki now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she lives right in Thessaloniki.
Oh,
And
okay.
Bulgaria, right in the middle of all that mess.
Any more questions? Did
it's
you have any more,
and
Carly?
it's considered Greece or Macedonia?
It's
It's Greece.
Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Greece. That,
That whole region is Greece.
Okay.
yeah, it's called, where she's at, the region's called, didn't you tell me, Central Macedonia?
It's right there.
Yeah.
As a region. Any more
Neapolis,
questions
which is now Kabbalah.
for Carly, or did you have any more, Carly?
No, I just didn't, any more questions?
Did you hear all that?
It's Betty Bye time.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For staying up.
Was Argentina, Macedonia north of the
Argean.
Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, partially.
Kind
yeah.
of like,
Aegean.
Okay, is it west of it as well?
This is what our family's named after.
Um,
yes.
Adrian.
okay,
yeah, no, not really. I mean, if you go,
Slavic, probably.
not really. If you're looking at the Aegean Sea and you go directly west, that's a different area. I don't know what it's called. I'm trying to think.
Mysia?
Let's see.
Achaia back then, Greece
said
Achaia.
west.
or is that just
Directly
west?
west,
West.
right?
See if I can pull up a map.
So Thessaloniki's at the,
So Berea's near the borderline.
over there. That's Thessaloniki.
See, on our map at that time, it wasn't near a borderline. But now it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like things change there pretty regularly.
Oh, Thessaly, of course.
You've been watching
Yes.
Spartans?
Oh, yeah, it does